I was currently riding a bicycle in Laos on my way to the Vietnamese border. The past week had been kind of brutal as my body wasn't used to this much movement, but even worse, the brakes on my bike had stopped working. I had tried getting them fixed at various mechanics but without any luck, so I assumed the brake pads were completely worn out due to all the downhill riding I had been facing previously. At this point, I ended up having to sacrifice my Crocs by using them as brakes to slow down on the tarmac. Not only was this exhausting, but it also made me have to go very slow when I normally would be cruising down at a faster pace.
I'm not really looking forward to this, but I know after the steepness it's gonna be pretty normal, I think. I mean, it's gonna go down all the way to the border. Well, that's what my maps are saying. Fucking hell, dude. I mean, the view is good. I say that everywhere I go, but yeah, this ain't good. I probably have to walk the bike. Yeah, it's too tiring. Yeah, I'm gonna have to walk it 1000%. Oh. This sand place thing, this is mine for tonight. Fuck. Yeah, I don't mind staying here. I got 5 kilometers to do tomorrow morning, and that'll be it. Over and done with Lao.
Having spent my last night in Laos, I woke up early to make sure I was at the border when it opened at 7 AM. It was an easy road with only a tiny bit of downhill, which I made in no time. I had no issues at the border and crossed over with excitement. The rocky tarmac that was full of gravel and sand in Laos had now been replaced with actual smooth tarmac, and I could immediately tell that I had entered a brand new country.
We got actual markings on the road. White lines and some lines in the middle. It's nice. Scheiße. Scheiße. Please. What the fuck?
My goal was to make it to Hanoi with this bicycle where I could potentially sell it for the price of a moped. I was kind of fed up with this bike ride, therefore I was itching to get there as soon as possible. Although it was 250 kilometers from the border to the capital, I believed I could push it and be there in only a couple of days. Traffic was also more dense on the east side of the border, especially as I got closer to largely populated areas. Thus, I was puzzled at how I was going to deal with the Hanoi traffic in the absence of any breaks.
Yeah, I didn't film it, but I've had 2 plates of yellow rice and meat and 2 soups for approximately €3.
Hello. Oh, fast. Oh, you have no brakes either. I don't know if this is ever gonna make it into somewhat of a video, but I have ridden a lot today. And it's only 134 kilometers to Hanoi, and I am here by this somewhat of a construction building, and it is 4:30 and I'm absolutely devastated. Well, my body is, so I don't see the point continuing, but I have a goal for tomorrow, and that goal is to reach Hanoi, get to a hotel for a night, maybe even 2, relax a bit, And yeah, yeah, that's the goal. That's it. Fuck it, dude. The bike ride's been great.
Run have to wear your Crocs out, man.
I gotta get a new pair. Yeah, so I met two guys on the bike here, and they had a little look at the brakes and fixed them. But it's flat all the way to Hanoi, but I probably need it in the traffic anyways. But yeah, nothing to worry about. 88K to the city, and then try to sell it.
At this point, all I could do was laugh. I was lucky enough to meet two bikepackers from Europe who happened to know a lot more about bikes than I did. All we had to do was tighten up a screw on the brake and that was it. The fact that I rode pretty much 4 days without any brakes was crazy enough, but the worst part of it all was the fact that it was a ridiculously easy fix. At least I learned something new for future reference and was now pretty comfortable moving through traffic.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely crazy.
I made it to Hanoi and chilled out like never before. The next couple of days, I explored around the city and even found someone who was interested in buying the bicycle. I sold it for just over $100, which I was satisfied with, and immediately began searching for workshops for mopeds. I talked to a number of people and eventually found one that suited my style. Next thing I knew, I was the owner of my first ever motorized vehicle, an old and beaten Vietnamese scooter which I got for the same price that I sold my bicycle for. While at the mechanic, I met Miguel, an American who was renting a moped from the same place. We ended up riding around together and explored other parts of the city. We then made the decision to leave the city of Hanoi and head east towards the South China Sea.
All right, you ready to roll out? Yeah, I met Miguel here yesterday while buying the scooter. And yeah, it's about soon to be 6, and we are gonna cruise our way down to Halong Bay. I wasn't even planning on going there, but he was talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, might as well go together for a date. Thumbs up, Vietnam. Thumbs the fuck up. Turns out there's not too much to do here in this town, so yeah, we try to leave on a ferry to go somewhere. Well, right now it's like an hour until it leaves and I don't feel like waiting. I drove 3 hours here for pretty much nothing. At least you're trying to explore some parts of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go north in the country, freeze my ass off for a little bit before going south. Apparently it's really beautiful, so it should make up for it. And if not, well then, another fucked up trip to somewhere fucked. Peace.
Considering I had bought myself a scooter, I was forced to check out the northern part of the country before heading south towards warmer weather. While in Hanoi, I had taken my time to search up a couple of places that seemed worth a visit in the north. I was aiming for a town called Ha Giang, which was around 14 hours away, but I planned on doing a couple of stops before that.
Yeah, so I crossed the river over there on like a tiny little plank, and then now I'm here pretty much all alone. There are some people here on the other side playing golf and whatnot, got some tents around, but here I'm gonna be completely alone, so thumbs up. And the fact that I did not have to pay anything to get in here gives this place another star for me. Yeah, I'm not completely alone, but with a place like this, I can't really expect it. So I'm gonna set up my shit here, and then hopefully have a good night's sleep. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of like this place, you know? I didn't know that I was gonna spend the night here, but I ended up deciding to do so. I walked up to that waterfall over there and met some local kids, and they were quite surprised and curious. I don't think a lot of tourists come here. They ended up asking me if I could take some photos and film a little bit and show the fish that they caught, which, I mean, I like that. I like being around the locals where they are a little bit curious about you rather than just seeing you as a bill or money, you know?
Having driven for yet another day, I set up camp on a bank right by the road where I mostly ate nuts and other local foods I'd bought along the way. The following morning, I continued making progress, and after just a couple of hours, I finally made it to Hajjan. I got myself a room because it was far too cold at night to stay outside without a sleeping bag, and then began exploring the area.
So I got into town a few hours ago. It was raining and it was misty and it was miserable, so I got myself a room. Now it's a few hours later and we got sun. And I checked out the area if there were any trails, and I thought there was going to be a bunch because there are a lot of mountains around here. Turns out there's not a single trail in the area, that is.
I'ma be honest, I wasn't really feeling this town. What people typically do here is motorbike tours around the area. Considering I had already been driving for days to get up here, I didn't find that too appealing. I also found it difficult to understand why I would pay someone just to ride with a group. When I woke up the following morning, my scooter was smelling like gasoline and the engine wouldn't even start. Luckily, some locals helped me get to a mechanic to find out what the issue was.
Alright, so I am all filled up and I'm ready to head south. Basically, it cost me about 10 euros to fill up the tank and to get this thing fixed. I think it's a pretty good price, to be honest. It's not bad. I thought it was gonna be like 100 euros. Don't even know what currency to talk about anymore. But yeah, let's go.
It was finally time to head south. Now, I hadn't done a lot of research about the country in terms of places to see and visit. However, I did have a couple of marked spots on my maps. Therefore, I began riding towards the first one, which happened to be Ninh Binh, 7 to 8 hours away. I was already aware that this was yet another tourist hotspot, but I had to go through it anyway, so I didn't think it would be an issue to just stop by.
Well, this is where I ended up today. I asked the guy over here if I could park it here. I'm gonna go up there and possibly find somewhere to sleep. Well, the guy behind me wanted some money from me, so I guess it's time I leave this place. I jumped over a fence to get here. Ninh Binh is a cool ass place. That's all I have to say.
While exploring the pagodas and the surrounding mountains, I met Carson, a traveler from Utah. He was staying at a hostel nearby, so I decided to book myself one as well. We enjoyed the view and got to know each other before saying goodbye again in the evening. The following morning, he hit me up and asked me if I wanted to go out and find a gym somewhere with the idea of getting a fat workout in. I had the brilliant idea of hitting both the back and the legs, since I knew it was going to keep me sore for a long time.
How does it feel? How does it taste? Explain.
Hard to find out. I'm still confused what this is. Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Pork.
Puerca.
We then set out to do some touristy things. Carson had obviously done more research about the place than I did, and it turned out that there were a lot of massive caves around the area. Yes, we did have to pay a tourist price, but at least I decided to make the effort to witness them before continuing further south.
Is there slippery?
It's so slippery.
It's like impossible.
Let's go. Come on, Becky. Come on, man.
Alright, we're dropping off Carson here at the train station. Look, it's a freight train. It's not connected to anything. Met him yesterday, and I'll leave him. And then I'll see him again, maybe. Maybe I will never see him again. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to my shitty hostel and probably do nothing now because it's raining. And apparently it's gonna rain for the next weeks in Southeast Asia, so that sucks. That sucks bad. Rice, egg, vegetable. Oh yeah, good idea. Amazing.
After 3 days of riding and over 700 kilometers behind me, I made it to Da Nang. On the way there, I was struggling with my legs cramping up because of the heavy workout I did with Carson. The seat on the moped didn't really help either, and it had also started acting weird, but Vietnamese mechanics seem to always find a solution. Now, the city of Da Nang was massive with a decent number of skyscrapers. I stretched out my legs while walking on the beach and coincidentally got the idea of hitting a rooftop.
Yeah. Holy shit, dude. Oh shit, water. I walked by that first security. He was just sitting there like half asleep. He didn't hear me. Then I walked around a little bit trying to find the stairs and I saw like 3 more guys. One sleeping in a hammock, one actually paying attention, and another guy sleeping somewhere else.
You can never go wrong with fried rice. It's gonna rain the entire night tomorrow and all of that, so yeah, I better just keep on riding.
I set up camp right by the beach and watched the waves crash into the sand over and over again. Honestly, at this point, I didn't care too much about the country. That may sound harsh to some, but all I wanted to do was avoid the wet weather. I knew that the further south I went, the warmer it would become, so I just continued riding towards Saigon in an attempt to sell the scooter before it broke down for good. From there, I had a plan of hitching my way over to Cambodia so that I could go to the coast by the Gulf of Thailand, where the weather was supposed to be a lot better. I had ridden over half of the country by now, and by grinding a significant distance every day, I'd be in the second capital in only a couple of days.
This scooter is gonna die soon. While I was driving, the scooter just shut off. Or it didn't really shut off, but it gave me a weird noise, and now it sounds like hell. I mean, it's still going forward. Bike is parked and I am finding somewhere to sleep a bit early. Driven over 350 kilometers today. My ass is, well, have seen better days, that's for sure. It is so fucking windy out here. And I'm afraid that I'm gonna be caught out in a rainstorm tonight. Anyways, I'm going up here, going to the beach. I'm gonna sleep at the beach.
Yeah, I went in here last night. The wind was so strong I wasn't able to set up my tent. The tent poles are kind of fucked, so it makes it way more difficult to set it up, especially in heavy winds. Yeah, it was not the greatest sleep, but I got some hours in, so I'm happy. At least I don't have that fucking wheel here. There's no window here either, so I can stretch out my legs, but now my toes are wet.
Got some help here.
Broken engine. Well, that's great.
And there it was, the day I had been anticipating ever since I bought the scooter. When a mechanic informs you that your engine is broken, you know that it's definitely not your day. I was on the outskirts of a small town. The mechanic told me to head into the center to try a different mechanic just in case I wanted an engine replacement. In reality, I didn't want to spend more money, but it also didn't hurt to try.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you. Found a hat. Hey, got some additional speed here.
I was informed at a different workshop that there was nothing they could do unless I wanted to swap out the whole engine. I wasn't very interested in doing that. The worst part of it all was the fact that nobody even wanted to buy it for any given price. So, with that, it was back to hitchhiking.
Yeah, it's a sad day. The thing that almost got me all the way down south is now forever gone. Will you go to Nha Trang?
Yes.
Can I come? Ah, perfect.
Where you come from before?
So I drove my motorbike from
No, where you moved?
Hanoi, Haijiang, and now motorbike is broken.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hitched a ride to Nha Trang, another big Vietnamese city. I then got on top of a large building and just looked into nothingness while reflecting on the past week and a half. As of right now, I wasn't really motivated to do anything. I was a bit bummed that I couldn't at least try to sell the moped in Saigon. And since I couldn't even ride there myself, I ended up paying for an overnight bus and got there just before sunrise the following morning. I was dropped off right by yet another tall building which I had the urge to climb, not only to enjoy the sunrise, but to catch up on a little bit of sleep. Conveniently, my Cambodian visa had just been accepted, so having lurked around enough on various rooftops, I decided to wave goodbye and hit the road one last time with the idea of reaching the next country.